Part 3 of our conference predictions. LT here, Luke Taylor, Full Court Press podcast, a college basketball experience with my guy Sammy D. We've had some strife so far.
Part 3. I love that we're hitting every conference. I'm not sure there's another podcast that's dedicating this much time to every single conference.
Or is just dumb enough to do it.
I think that's the love we like to show.
I do. I love it. I think my love for college basketball expanded. And there's a saying I said in part 2 of this kind of 3-part series is you can expand the buffet, you can't expand the NCAA tournament. Wise words by an overweight man, but it's coming down. That's the goal. I'm going to shed it.
Shed it, man. Yeah.
All right, so we did pretty much every conference except for these next ones. So the first conference we're going to talk about is the last year they're going to have it. I just don't see it ever being around again. But supposedly Oregon State and Washington State own the rights, so you never know. The Pac-12. You've got Colorado is 11-2, hasn't played anyone. I love KJ Simpson. Ball player, dropped 34 in the recent win against Washington State, averaging 21.1 for Coach Tad Boyle's Buffaloes. Then you got Utah's 11-2 beat Washington on Sunday. 7-game winning streak beat BYU 73-69. But here's who they've played: Utah Valley, Bellarmine, Southern Utah, who they just beat by 2, and lost to Houston by 10 and St. John's by 9. That's Utah coach Craig Smith, center Brandon Carlson, 18.4. And, I mean, the team that, should just walk through it. They're just that good is Caleb Love and the Arizona Wildcats.
Whew. Yeah, I've got Arizona. Like, I do like Utah surprised me. Colorado, I'm not sold on. I think it's it's Utah or Arizona at this point, and you gotta pick Caleb Love in Arizona.
So when Utah's beaten Utah Valley and Bellarmine in Southern Utah, Arizona's beating Duke by 5, beating Michigan State by 6, Wisconsin by 25, beating Alabama, and just lost to. Here's the thing I worry about Arizona. They just lost to Stanford by 18 on Sunday. Stanford is 6-6.
Yeah.
When I saw that, that's concerning.
Oh, for sure, it's concerning, but it's. I also think it shows you that not one team has just kind of rolled through the year, No. And Arizona was number 1 in the country for a while, right? Mm-hmm. Now they have 3 losses. The loss to Stanford's definitely concerning, but I don't think it's going to really affect them going into conference play. Caleb Love should win Conference Player of the Year,
Potentially National Player of the Year, too.
Yeah, could be National Player of the Year. Who do you think's been it? So we talk about the transfer portal a lot, who do you think has been a more impactful transfer, Hunter Dickinson or Caleb Love?
Caleb Love.
Yeah? I'll give you that. I don't think Arizona would be top 10 without Caleb Love, whereas I could see Kansas still being top 10 without Hunter Dickinson.
And it's no disrespect to Hunter Dickinson. Caleb Love's just a man. I wish they let him into Michigan. Well, I shouldn't say he got into Michigan. I said he didn't get in initially, he just. The problem with Michigan is if you have to transfer either as a graduate or I think after your freshman or sophomore year because of the 60 credits or something like that. So it's kind of tough to get into Michigan. And he committed. Yep. He was going to go. And can you imagine how good Michigan would have been with Caleb Love? I don't think they would be top 5 or top 10, but they would have been a top 25 team. He's that good.
Yeah. I agree with that.
So we're both going with Arizona. That was simple. All right.
Yeah. Can you imagine Caleb Love if he was still at UNC? Where UNC would be
tough because I think RJ Davis is just they're kind of the same players per se.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that's simple. Arizona.
Are you buying Colorado at all?
Football or basketball?
Basketball.
I think they're legitimate now.
Okay.
They can't have bad losses. I think they can get into the tournament. I think KJ Simpson's that good.
Yeah.
But you can't have bad losses. And if you have bad losses, you can't have blowouts. You can't lose, no offense to Arizona, by 20, 25 points to Stanford. And Stanford's got a young team too. Or they lost by 18. You can't lose by double digits. So
No.
Whatever. I mean, it is what it is. It's college basketball. It's been that year. There's no, like, I think any team can win on any given day. So, it is what it is. All right.
So you think they're a 3-team conference?
What's that?
You think they're 3 bids or more?
3. I think
Okay.
it's going to be Arizona, Colorado, and Utah, the 3 teams we talked about. I think Arizona State's been disappointing to me. Washington, Oregon's been disappointing, but you kind of knew
Oregon's 10-3.
What's that?
Oregon's 10-3.
No,
like
but
the only 3 games they've lost are like at neutral sites in like those tournaments.
I know.
So,
But I think like they lost to Georgia. I mean, that's just a bad loss to me. Georgia's not a bad team either, but
yeah.
I mean, they're good. I mean, listen. Well, what's Arizona State's record?
8-5. They're 5-0 at home.
I mean, they can go
So
on
let
a
me
run.
add,
That's the thing about conference basketball.
Yeah, while we're on the Pac-12, right? You're in Akron, Ohio, home of the James family, or birthplace of the James family. What's Bronny James going to do at USC? While we're on the Pac-12,
USC's probably been one of my most disappointing teams.
Yeah,
I really like them. I was talking highly of them. I love Isaiah Kohler. I think Bronny James is a great player. They brought in Dennis Rodman's son. I think they had some key pieces coming in and coming back. And they're just not, I don't know. I can't figure them out. It's just, they're losing games they shouldn't lose. I mean, they really haven't beaten anybody. So, and I'm wearing USC Trojans maroon, so figure that one out. But yeah, I don't know. I'm disappointed with USC. And this could be a team that's, I mean, Bronny James could be going to the NBA, as is Isaiah Kohler. So,
yep.
All right, let's talk about the Patriot League.
Let's talk about him.
Colgate.
Yeah.
You're 6-7. I'm picking Colgate. And not because I used Colgate this morning. Oh, did I use Colgate? Yeah, Aquafresh. Colgate. Yeah, Aquafresh. 6-7 lost their last 3 games, but they beat Vermont by 6, beat Weber State by 2, lost to Syracuse by 4. I really like Coach Matt Langle as a coach, and Braden Smith is averaging 12.9 points a game. So I'm picking Colgate.
Yeah, I'll stick with you on Colgate. I like that squad. I was recruited by Colgate pretty hard. Seriously considered it. And I think they're a good team. I think that that this Patriot League is always fun to look at, because you have teams that have upset other teams in the tournament. You have like Lehigh, Bucknell, but it's not the best. This is not their best year. I'll put it that way as a conference. And I do think Colgate is the best team out of this conference, along with American. But I'm with you on here. I'm gonna stick with Colgate.
No, American can do some things. All right, let's go to the SEC. This one's going to be a little bit interesting. So you got Ole Miss, who's 13-0. They beat Memphis by 3. They play Tennessee on Saturday. Matt Morrell is averaging 17 points a game. Alan Flanagan 16.7 and 7.5 rebounds a game. Then you got South Carolina's 12-1. They beat Grand Canyon. They lost at Clemson by 5. You got Tennessee's 9-3. Mississippi State's 11-2. Lost to Southern. They lost to Southern University. Good squad in the SWAC, and Georgia Tech. Then you got Kentucky, 10-2, 2 losses to UNC Wilmington, which is a bad loss, and Kansas by 5. They did beat UNC by 4 and a nice win against St. Joe's. They got 5 guys in double digits. I know who you're going to pick. You're picking Kentucky.
How do you know?
Because I just know. I think they're that good too.
Yeah, I'm picking Kentucky. Like they disappointed me the first few games of the season. Like Coach Cal has turned that team around. We talked on our preseason podcast how on paper they're just ridiculous. Like the number of McDonald's All-Americans, and like it's just like they should have been number 1 team in the country, like on paper, right? When you look at the squad that they have and the pedigree on that team. Coach Cal is like, he's kind of switched the lineup around the past 9 or 10 games, and like they're a good team, Who thought we'd be talking about like Reed Shepherd, like this part of year. You know,
he's 56% from
crazy, huh?
From the 3-point land.
Yeah, yeah. So here's a. Do you know which team is leading the country in points per game? They're in the SEC, and you didn't even mention them.
Who is it?
Alabama.
You know why I haven't mentioned Alabama? They've just had some bad losses.
I know. They're putting up 93 points per game. Number one offense in the country as far as points per game. So I think anybody who, and I don't think they're going to win the conference, but when you have a team that's that run and gun type of mentality and just wants to they can go in anywhere and beat anybody because they will go on like a 30-5 run streak, right? Mm-hmm. And so I mean, I think that they're going to be a team that the Kentuckys, the Ole Misses, the South Carolinas, they need to look out for, not to get that loss on their schedule. But if you haven't watched an Alabama game, watch them because they are a fun team to watch from an offensive perspective.
Yeah. What do you think about? So I really like what Coach Paris is doing at South Carolina. I mean, they beat Grand Canyon. The game against Clemson was awesome. I think they're gonna make the tournament. South Carolina. I think there's gonna be a lot of bids to the SEC again this year. But I don't know about Ole Miss and Mississippi State. And I'm saying I don't know about Ole Miss. Chris Beard is a great coach. I mean, they got some great players. They beat Memphis by 3. I think them playing Tennessee is going to be a huge game on Saturday. And then Mississippi State is 11-2.
They haven't played anybody though.
I know.
I just hate some of these. Yeah, like Mississippi State gets on my nerve because they're that that they were getting calls from mid majors and they said no, right? So trying to get on the schedule, and so I don't know. They haven't played anybody. I'm not buying Mississippi State. I'll buy Ole Miss. I'll buy South Carolina. I'll buy Kentucky. Auburn's a good team. Tennessee's a good team. Tennessee kind of disappointing. Middle of in November, they've won 5 in a row now though. Yeah. Alabama, I already mentioned them. Missouri.
Missouri's all over the place.
I know. It's a tough conference to go by, and it's
Florida.
You want to see good conference play. At the end of the day, I do want to see Kentucky dominate this conference because I think that getting into the NCAA tournament, they could, you want good players to do well, right? You want to watch the best players play well, right? We love seeing upsets and stuff like that, but. And I'll give Coach Cal credit, man. He's turned that team around from where I thought that they started off the year. So,
okay.
I think that they're going to get through this. I think that they could be a surprising 1 seed in the tournament if they cruise through the SEC, which I think is possible for them.
Right. Okay. All right. We'll both pick Kentucky. Southern Conference. So I got Samford kind of opened my eyes, not because of a chore at 14.2 points game. But it's Coach Bucky McMillan's. He puts Graziano, I think his name was, against Edie, and there was a 1.5 height difference. They're 11-2, lost their first 2 games, obviously losing to Purdue and VCU. 11 straight wins. Some of their best wins are Louisiana and Valpo. AJ Stanton McCrae's averaging 13.2 for the Bulldogs. Then Western Carolina. 5-game winning streak, 11-2. They beat UNC Asheville by 15, beat McNeese State, who I really like, by 2, and Notre Dame by 10. Vontarius Woolbright is a stud. 21
points per game, 12 boards,
12.1 points a game, and 5 assists for Coach Justin Gray's Catamounts!
Oh, this is a hard one. This was one of the harder ones that I had.
I'm picking Western Carolina.
Yeah, I'm leaning that way as well. Yeah, Western Carolina's had a more difficult. I mean, I don't want to say more, but the teams they beat to get to where they are this part of the season are better than Samford's 11 straight wins, right? 11-game winning streak. Yeah, I mean, you got to kind of put like you want to look at matchups in this case, right? And I think Vontarius Woolbright is by far the best player in this conference.
Yes,
and I think that he is
in the country.
Yeah, he is leagues ahead of everybody else in that conference. I'll put it that way, right? And so I don't think that when you have a guy like that, they're gonna win the conference.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So we're both picking Western Carolina.
Yep.
You just like older Cougars. All right. So that was pretty simple. I do like Samford though, but I think Western Carolina is just that just a little bit better. It's gonna be a great game when they play against each other. All right, the Southland Conference. It starts and ends with McNeese State, baby. Giddy up, the Cowboys.
I agree.
I love Shadia Wells. I love them. I mean, they just beat Michigan. They're on a 6-game win streak. They're 11-2. They beat UAB. They beat Southern Mississippi. They beat Louisiana. Coach Will Wade. You listen to that name. He's going to be a major college coach again in the next couple years. I mean, just didn't get it done at LSU. They let him go. But he's a great coach. Love Coach Hamilton. They follow the podcast. I'm hoping we're going to go down there, set that up, go see Vernon Hamilton, Coach Wade, Shadia Wells. So I'm going with McNeese State, the Cowboys.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that they are the best team in that conference. I think that they'll get out of that conference. It's a one-conference bid, and it will be McNeese State.
And they could do some damage in the NCAA tournament. They'll be dancing.
I don't know if they'll do damage. I think that I don't know.
They get after it.
They do get after it. They're a good team. They're a fun team to watch, but yeah, I mean the win against Michigan doesn't mean as much because of how Michigan's doing right now. Yeah. But they're the best team in the Southland, and they'll be dancing.
Okay. All right, we're going to go to the SWAC. So I want to ask you, in their heyday, who would win in a 1-on-1 game? Reggie Theus, who's a head coach at Bethune-Cookman, the Wildcats, or Jackson State, who is also the Wildcats, Mo Williams. Who would win in 1-on-1 in their heyday?
In their heyday? College basketball?
Both.
College basketball, I'm going to go Reggie Theus.
Yeah, UNLV.
Yeah. Pro, I think Mo Williams he played his role better.
Yeah.
Right. I think he went into the NBA being a role player, and I think he played that really well.
Yeah.
Where I think Reggie Theus had some pretty high expectations coming out of UNLV, and never really kind of made that star moment in the NBA. But
it's difficult.
Reggie Theus was one of my favorite players.
Yeah.
And
wasn't he on Saved by the Bell?
No, he was on, was it like Hang Time with Mr. Cooper or something like that?
Yeah, it might have been. Hanging with Mr. Cooper.
It was one of those, it was one of those shows. Yeah.
Yeah. So Bethune-Cookman, the Wildcats are 5-8, 4-game losing skid. Guard Jacoby Heaty's averaging 15.1 points per game. They're good, but I'm going to go with Jackson State, baby. They're 4-9. Okay, I get it, 4-9. But
another conference where there's not one team over 500.
Well, right. They lost to Northwestern by 11. They played Gonzaga. They played Houston. They played Memphis. They played Georgetown, and they beat Missouri. Ken Evans Jr. is a stud, 18.5 points per game. I love Colty Young and I love Jordan O'Neal too. And I love what Coach Mo Williams is doing after being at Alabama State. I think Jackson State is for real. JSU, baby. I'm marking it in. LT, Jackson State. I think you're really thinking about Bethune-Cookman and Reggie Smith, who's also the athletic director, too.
I am looking at Bethune-Cookman. I mean, they're 4-0 at home. Like, they've lost 4 in a row right now.
Yeah, but who have they played? Look at Jackson State.
Yeah, I mean, Jackson State had the harder schedule, but, they didn't.
By 1,000.
Just because.
They had a harder state by 1,000.
Yeah, but they didn't win.
They beat Missouri, who's a good team.
Yeah.
They only lost to Northwestern by 11.
Ooh, I'm not picking. I like Mo Williams. I just want to be controversial here.
You're being real controversial in your SWAC pick.
I am going to pick Prairie View.
Prairie View?
Yeah.
We talked about Prairie View.
Oh, watch them.
Why are you picking Prairie View, A&M?
I don't know. think that, I mean, they're putting up some numbers, you know.
Stats.
Yeah, I mean, they've had a decent schedule. I mean, they lost to Tulane, lost to Iowa State. I mean, this conference, like, I think anybody could win this conference except the bottom teams.
Yeah.
Bethune, yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm sticking with Prairie View.
Okay, Prairie View A&M. All right, let's go to the Summit League. So I was going to pick Denver, the Pioneers. I still might. They've got Tommy Bruner, who's leading the league right now, or leading the country in scoring.
24.7
points per game. He's a ball player. Coach Wolbron, they're 9-6. Recently lost to Oral Roberts, who's always a good team by 3. Mm-hmm. I thought, they're just going to win the Summit League. But then I watched St. Thomas. I actually watched this game, believe it or not. They're 10-5. The Tommies. Tommy boy. They lost to Marquette by 5. Coach Tower, I mean, they're solid. Parker Borgerland is averaging 14.1. They get after it. They're real smart. They pass the ball real well. So I'm kind of struggling with my predictions of either Denver or St. Thomas. But I think I'm going to go with the Pioneers of Denver.
I thought you were going to pick the Tommies, actually.
Yeah.
I'm going with Denver as well.
Really?
Tommy Bruner, again, he's the best player in the conference.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, Summit League is fun to watch. There's some good teams in there. I mean, I follow it because, University of Missouri, Kansas City plays in that league. The Kangaroos.
Yep.
And
they're simply known as Kansas City now.
Yeah, I know.
The University of Kansas City, or is it just Kansas City?
I think it's the University of Kansas City. UKC.
I like UMKC.
Yeah, me too. But it is. I was a ball boy for UMKC. Did you know that?
Yeah. I'm sure you're something else for UMKC too.
Yeah, no, I used to wipe the sweat off the floor. It was. I played pig with Chauncey Billups when the Colorado Buffaloes came in and played. He's a good guy.
So why haven't we had him on the podcast?
I don't know. I'll reach out to him, see if he remembers that.
Probably not.
I'm going Denver. Yeah, Tommy Bruner's too good, and I think that they're going to do pretty well here.
Yep.
In this conference.
All right, 2 more conferences. This one's a tough one. West Coast, San Francisco, Gonzaga, but then you also have Santa Clara, San Diego, and St. Mary's. St. Mary's is 9-6.
Yeah.
So West Coast, the Dons, not the Master Dons. The Dons are 11-4 for Coach Chris Jurlifson. They beat Minnesota. They lost to Grand Canyon and Boise State. Lost to Utah State by 1. Marcus Williams is a stud. Leads the Dons with 14.3 points a game. Jonathan Mugbo was second with 13.7. They're really balanced. Then you got Gonzaga. 9-4 losses to San Diego State recently. UConn, Washington, Purdue. Beat Syracuse and USC. Graham Ike, you remember him from Wyoming, 14.5 points a game, 8.1 rebounds a game. And then Anton Watson, who I really like, 14.2 and 7.5. Santa Clara's doing a little noise. San Diego's a really consistent team. And then St. Mary's. That's the one I just can't figure out. They're talented.
Yeah, so I have Gonzaga winning this conference. I think that they are better than what their record is. The teams they've lost to are all good teams. I'm with you, St. Mary's. St. Mary's for me falls into that Creighton bucket where I'm like, you guys should be better, right?
Or State.
Yeah, right. So, I have Gonzaga winning this. I think it will be interesting to see how many teams get a bid in this league. I don't think the national media and the selection committee is going to give this league much leeway.
No. I agree with you on that one. I think they're going
to get 2 teams.
Yeah, 2.
I don't know.
I think St. Mary has a bad loss.
Yeah,
and they got to beat Gonzaga and South France. I think they've got to beat San Francisco and they got to beat Gonzaga at least once, and they can't have any bad losses, or St. Mary's is not going to be. They're not going to be a 5th seed for that matter.
No, for sure not. I think, man. I'm going Gonzaga, number 2 team in the conference. I don't know. Like, I think San Francisco's a little overrated.
Really?
But the thing is, like, when they're losing, they're not losing by a lot, right? So they're staying in each game, which is nice. I think it's a 2-bid team. If I had to pick today, I would pick San Fran over St. Mary's, and then Gonzaga, obviously.
Yeah,
as well.
I'm going to go with Gonzaga too. I was kind of inching towards San Francisco, but they beat Minnesota. Grand Canyon's a really good team, and they lost to Boise State. Boise State's another one that's been a little bit disappointing for me. Now, they can make a run and do something in the Mountain West. I mean, Leon Rice and Tyson Degenhart, Andrew Meadows. I mean, they've got a great team. But I just think Gonzaga, I mean, it's kind of like Vermont, right? Vermont struggled a little bit, but they're always there. Gonzaga's always there with Coach Few. Yeah,
Gonzaga's got a good team. Like I said, I mean, the 4 losses that they have, I mean, they're all good teams. They probably should have beaten San Diego State, probably should have beaten Washington, but they're not bad losses, by any means.
Right. So. Right. Okay, so we're both picking Gonzaga. All right, so the WAC. There's one team in the WAC, baby. It's Grand Canyon. 12-1, lost a really good South Carolina team. I actually watched that game. Beat San Diego State and beat San Francisco. 9-game winning streak, and they've got a former DePaul Blue Demon, Tyon Grant Foster, 12.3 points per game, one of the top 20-25 leading scorers in the nation. The other team to really look out is Tarleton State at 9-4. But I just think, what Coach Drew's doing over at Grand Canyon, and it's a really difficult place to play in the Antelopes, where the Antelopes play. I mean, if we go to the Final Four, which we're going to, I think we need to do a little tour and do a little social media of Grand Canyon's campus and
I love that.
The arena and stuff like that. Try to get Coach Drew on the podcast, and maybe even Coach Tyon Grant Foster, because we have that connection with DePaul, and we both probably don't like them, so we have that in common too.
Yeah, I mean, Grand Canyon's coming out of this conference. They're a good team. Yeah, I mean, their only loss was to South Carolina, who is like 12-1 right now, right? Like, I mean, South Carolina's a good team, so. Yeah, I mean, it's not up for debate. I think we're both picking Grand Canyon, and I think we're buying into Grand Canyon, how good they are, and I hope that they keep getting better throughout the year. And they can make some noise come March.
Absolutely. Well, Sammy, that's it, man. First ever 3-part episode with you and I talking about all 32 college basketball. There are 32.
I had fun. Yeah, let me ask you a question. Who's your player of the year right now?
Caleb Love or Kevin McCullough Jr.
All right.
They won't give it to Kevin McCullough Jr.
No. Yeah, I'm with McCullough as well. But it's going to be a
mid-major player of the year, Isaiah Stevens.
Yeah, but you're telling me he's not a mid-major. So.
Oh, sorry. The other mid-major. He's not mid-major. I think you've got. Edie too. I mean, he's a great player.
Do you think Edie? I think Edie's a little overrated.
He's 7. Here's the problem. It's like what Rex Walters said about Big Country. He got drafted. Rex Walters is like 6'3", and Big Country is like 7 foot. I think he's Canadian, so I got to be loyal to my Canadians. Big up to Canada. I was just there. I think he's great, but he's going to make a lot of money playing basketball wherever he plays. But I look at Caleb Love and what he's doing at Duke. Or not at Duke, sorry, Caleb, what he's doing at Arizona. He's putting Arizona into Duke. And then I think Kevin McCullough Jr., I mean, he is, been playing freaking lights out for a really good Kansas team.
I mean, for McCullough to step up, I mean, he's just filling stats left and right. And, yeah.
Are you
Yeah, I
pondering
mean, I'm
that?
just
You ponder that.
no, I'm looking at like preseason picks here and there.
Who was
So
it? Who is the preseason?
preseason first team was Zach Edey, Kyle Filipowski from Duke, Tyler Kolek, Marquette, Terrence Shannon, Illinois, and Wade Taylor IV at Texas A&M.
Yeah, all great basketball players.
Yeah, I mean, really, the two that have actually like held their weight have been Edey and Kolek.
Yeah,
I mean Shannon as well, but
yeah.
his future is unknown at this point. So
Texas A&M started off real well, and they've kind of just
yeah.
fizzled a little bit, you know.
God, I love college basketball. Thanks for doing this, LT.
I know. And don't forget to go on our Instagram page because we've got a great full court press, which Sam is pulling up in the air, waving here. Custom full court press hoodie, but the main, I would say, attraction is the custom Air Force Ones by our guy.
Air Force Ones.
Gifted Soul. So you got to follow us, give us some reviews for some extra bonus point. Follow our YouTube page. I'm going to start working on that in the next thing. We're going to have a website hopefully out in February too. Once you get some photos.
What would your custom Air Force Ones look like?
Ooh. I'd probably, because I like orange and navy, I'd probably do Syracuse.
You do the Qs? Yeah.
I'd do the Qs. What about yourself?
I mean, I'm a Jayhawk fan, born and raised.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that blue and red's pretty tight.
Yeah.
But I'm in Fort Collins, and I would sport those green and white Colorado State Ram colors.
Yeah.
All throughout here.
I would do Akron. I like the gold and the navy.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
So.
All right, you should post some of the stuff from the artist, and so the viewers know what they can be in for. Those Air Force Ones are dope, and somebody's going to be looking pretty fresh. That's for sure.
So all right, don't forget to subscribe, rate, review. Thanks for listening to the Full Court Press podcast, a college basketball experience with my guy Luke Taylor, with my guy Sam Davidson. I'm Luke Taylor, and he's Jazzy Jeff. I don't know. So, all right, we'll talk.
It's all good.
Yeah, we'll talk to you again this week. We're going to have another great episode coming out, I believe, with Indiana State head coach and players Isaiah Swoop and Robbie Avia. So, hopefully, all three of them that's on the docket, hopefully for Friday morning, and then we'll be back. So, thanks, boys and girls.